right. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Coming Home to Yourself podcast. I'm your host, Vanessa, and here we'll dive into everything healing, mindset, confidence, manifestation, and how to become your most empowered self, aka coming home to yourself. In today's episode, we're going to talk about what is healing, what can we understand under that term, what types of healing are there, and why do we need it. All right, so here we go. Healing to me is overcoming trauma, wounds, patterns, and limiting beliefs which are challenging and replacing them with empowering and supporting beliefs, habits, and feelings that are healthy and beneficial for your future version. It is deprogramming your subconscious mind and forming new connections in your brain to replace the old, outdated, and toxic ones. It is reframing what you understand under living as your highest self, okay? And using this as your guide to become your most healed self, your most empowered self. All right, coming home to yourself. It is letting go of your past, surrendering to your emotions, and forgiving not only the people who have wronged you, but also yourself. Healing is letting go of all of that so that you can move on to be empowered and promote self-growth and success. And I personally view healing from a psychological lens, personal development lens, and spiritual lens all at the same time. Since I've created my vision of wanting to help people heal, I knew that I wanted to combine all three areas because to me, that is the only way that you can become your ultimate higher, most healed, most empowered, best self. I don't believe that the aspects of psychology alone integrate all there is to know about healing because society stops discussing it at the norm, right? You majorly see that everything abstract is simply excluded. Concerning personal development, I feel like it can be very narrowed down and a very enclosed space when there is no spirituality involved. It still isn't deep enough to me, even though it's already so deep. And spirituality consists of a lot of energy and metaphysical work, while personal development more so relies on cognitive and behavioral techniques, right? In order for you to understand why I believe all of those to be intertwined, I'm going to explain it to you in very simple and primitive terms now, because I'm no scientist, okay? So our physical reality is fundamentally made of atoms, right? Which is primarily consisting of energy. On the other hand, our human works in a similar way. Because if we look at the details of the atoms that make up our body, they are made of subatomic particles. And if you look even closer, these subatomic particles are primarily composed of what? Of energy. Now, if it hasn't clicked for you yet, and it still sounds superficial to you at first, I promise it will make sense in a second. There is a phenomenon called entanglement, which means that we are all connected. And in physics, it states that once something is unified, so once something begins as a whole, even if it is separated physically by many, many miles or even light years, energetically, everything is still connected. And why does that play a role now? Well, if we go back far enough in time, there was a point in time when everything was connected, right? And that is before what you know as the Big Bang. And what was the Big Bang? A massive release of energy. So when that happened, physically, the particles spread out. But energetically, the particles remained connected, right? And we are part of this earth. We are part of one another, aka everything is energy. And energy bounces off of each other. It reacts to one another. So I believe this to be our portal to become our highest selves. Because if everything is energy, we can manipulate that energy and create our own reality based on our healing and energy work, right? And that is why my brand is literally divided into healing work and energy work, because to me, both cannot be separated. Both cannot be without one another. We can literally manifest our desires into reality with this work. What do you have to do to speak it into existence? Change your thoughts, change your subconscious program, change your behavior, change your whole personality. By doing this work, you can align yourself with anything that you want. Now, why do I believe this to be true? Well, because I have played around with it already. And I already created evidence of little instances myself, even big instances, where I not only got exactly what I wanted, but I knew I manifested it into reality through this work. It actually just happened this week again. And before you all come for me, I'm not even talking about repeating my 4 affirmations in front of the mirror every day. It goes way deeper than this. Healing is an ongoing process of restoring the balance within you to achieve wholeness again. I mean, we've talked about this in my last episode, right? And it encompasses different types of healing as well, in which you're going to see that personal development as well as spirituality, they are all interconnected. So let's get started. So first, we obviously have mental healing. And mental healing primarily consists of 2 things. On one side, you have clarity, and on the other side, you have awareness. And it involves gaining clarity and insight into your thoughts, patterns, and your beliefs. Okay, I'm going to assume that all of you get what is meant by patterns and beliefs as well. But in case you don't, it's basically scenarios where you choose to stay in bed and watch Netflix because you're tired, sore, or lazy, rather than going to the gym or overall just being productive and doing what you know you have to do. Okay? Or it is believing that you are not good enough or you will never achieve your dreams. So, mental healing is about becoming aware of how your mind works and identifying unhealthy thought processes. So, these self-sabotaging processes, right? This is exactly why mental healing also includes reframing and releasing, because it is important here to reframe those negative beliefs and let go of limiting thoughts that hold you back. It's about replacing the negative ones, the unhealthy ones, the unsupporting ones, with empowering and positive perspectives. Like I said before, you change your thoughts, you change your subconscious mind in order to change your reality. Next, we have emotional healing. And emotional healing involves acceptance on one side and understanding on the other. So, emotional healing requires you to acknowledge and accept your feelings without any judgment. You become aware of it, you feel it, you sit through it, and you surrender to it, you let it go. All right? You do better next time. If you feel ashamed, but don't fall into a shame spiral. Okay? Don't overthink it. If you're guilty, feel the guilt, but don't guilt trip yourself over it anymore. It's about understanding the root cause of your emotions and how they affect your behavior. Therefore, processing and integration come into play. Emotional healing also involves processing your past traumas, your emotional wounds, and your toxic behaviors, and integrating the experiences into your life story in a way that fosters your growth and your resilience instead of dwelling on them, or instead of self-sabotaging or self-destructing again. It is important here to realize that the further you get with personal development, the less you need to dive into deep layers of your traumas. And I talk about this more in my journal. If you don't know about it yet, I offer a shadow work journal for beginners to get started on your healing journey and learn about different theoretical concepts and all that. So for anyone interested, the link is in my bio on Instagram. But back to what I was saying, I mentioned there that you don't need to keep revisiting and reliving your past time and time again after a while. You will know it probably developed during your early childhood. You know where it probably comes from. But depending on what you're working on, it really doesn't matter where it comes from. What you need to change is not in the past, it is your present thoughts and behaviors. Otherwise, you would never really let go of the past, right? The end goal is to process your bad habits and negative feelings and emotions, and then integrate healthier and more productive ones instead. And that is a forever and ongoing process, right? But you cannot simply be aware and then continue the pattern. You have to be aware and then change it for the better. Next, we have spiritual healing. And spiritual healing is above all about connection and purpose. At the spiritual level, it doesn't matter what religion, what background you're from, or what you believe in. Here, healing is about connecting with something greater than ourselves, whether that be a higher power, the universe, or simply our inner self. It doesn't really matter. I know that in today's society, God often falls short, I know that because I grew up in a household like that. I grew up in a community where we used to go to church, but the majority of the people around me didn't even know what to believe in, right? Me included. There was no desire, no fire in it, no faith. And I know that when I first started my journey into spirituality, I questioned everything to the point that I became an atheist. I didn't believe in God. I didn't believe in anything. I just felt aware of, let's call it the matrix. I was aware of what was going on, but I didn't believe in anything anymore. But the deeper I got, the more I searched, the more I learned, the more I integrated this work. It brought me back to my faith in God and the universe, a co-creation of both, a higher power that is hard to describe, so it needs to be felt. And ever since that moment, which was actually only last year in 2023, I started believing again. And it just catapulted me layers deeper. My point being is that spiritual healing is about finding your purpose and meaning in your existence in this life and embodying it and aligning with it. And also in the next life, right? Because I believe that our soul does go on to learn more, that we live multiple lives in different forms, but our soul is the same. Then we also have alignment and harmony included in spiritual healing. And to me, this is the journey I've spoken of before, our journey of aligning our lives with our core values and our spiritual beliefs, with the highest version of ourselves, which then creates harmony between our inner and our outer worlds. So you attract what you are. If you are in harmony within yourself, you are attracting all of those great things. If you are completely unhealed, if you have only shit within yourself, traumas, wounds, all of these things, and you don't do anything about it, you just keep on existing into your everyday life, and you wonder why your life is shit, why you attract all of these bad things. It's not that you deserve them, but your circumstances do make sense based on what is in your inner world. Now, our fourth one is physical healing. In this area, it is all about restoration and vitality, right? Physical healing is the process of restoring your body to its optimal health and vitality, plain and simple. This includes addressing injuries, illnesses, and maintaining overall well-being through nutrition, lots of movement and exercise, but also rest. And not to forget, this also includes details such as taking your vitamins, having a consistent and refreshing sleep schedule, cleaning your gut, doing self-care, nourishing your skin, and so on, right? Cleaning your teeth, all of those things. But also holistic care plays a role here, which is the approach to health. Recognizing the interconnection between body, mind, and spirit, okay? And after all, physical healing supports and is supported by healing in other areas. Again, everything is intertwined. Also here, and one thing I absolutely dislike in our society is that it is so normalized to feel like shit all the time. It is so normalized to feel depressed 24/7. I mean, I go on TikTok and I see one girl talking about how she's just existing and she doesn't feel well and she doesn't know what to do with herself. And everybody in the comments is like, me too, slay, queen, we're all connected, blah, 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 trauma bonding. This is not normal. Then it is normalized to have an absolutely bloated stomach after eating a meal. Again, you open up apps like TikToks or Instagram, you see everybody showing off their bloated belly, and it is being normalized. Everybody in the comments obviously can relate. I can relate as well, but nobody asks why this is happening. Nobody changes anything or questions themselves, right? It is simply like, me too, oh my gosh, I thought I was the only one, blah, 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 blah. It's always the same comments. But God forbid you stop and ask yourself why this is happening, if this is normal. Because I can tell you it's not. Because since I healed my eating patterns and my relationship to food, let me tell you, I have not been bloated anymore. I have not felt like shit after eating anymore. Because it is not normal. And you can change it. It is absolutely normal to become sick and downing 10 different pills to become healthy again, right? Everybody normalizes that. I rarely take pills. I drink my tea. I do everything I possibly can holistically and naturally to get myself right again. And let me tell you, for the past 10 years, apart from COVID, I barely got sick unless I got a little cold and I got a stuffy nose because I take care of myself. I don't need to down 10 pills because I know my body can resist to it. I know my body is strong enough to heal itself. I don't want my body to become dependent on that. And I'm not going to get any further into this right now. This will be a conversation for another day. But honey, I need you to see that all of these things, they are not normal. Of course, they are very common, but that doesn't mean that it's normal. And shit like this has got to stop to be normalized. The next topic, which is, in my opinion, an underrated one, but is very much needed in our society as well, especially for women, but of course also for men, is sexual healing. And it is first and foremost about empowerment and self-respect. Sexual healing involves reclaiming your sexual power and fostering a healthy relationship with your own sexuality. And I know a lot of women struggle with this from a young age on, just like I did. All it takes is one traumatic experience to throw you off the wagon completely. All it takes is one toxic relationship where they took your power away. All it takes is never having been educated on it. Believe me, I've been through all of these multiple times, but it's about respecting and honoring your own body and boundaries and finding back to yourself. That's why it's important for me to also mention the aspect of healing from trauma, because sexual healing includes addressing and healing from any type of sexual trauma, shame, or guilt, right? And creating a positive and fulfilling sexual identity and experience. It's important for you ladies to feel comfortable and sexy in your own bodies and expressing yourself as such. We live in such a patriarchal society already, which set the wrong standards. We are taught from a young age on that it's not okay to feel intimacy. You can be confident, but don't be too confident, otherwise you're an arrogant bitch. Feel sexy in your skin, but don't be too sexy, otherwise you're a slut. Feel good in your skin and show your body, but not too much, otherwise men think you're laying it out there for them. And you're asking for it. Feel yourself, but not too much, otherwise you make an insecure man feel bad about himself. And take this with a grain of salt as well, because there are many women out there who abuse this type of behavior as well. So they go into the other extreme. But there are always these restraints, and it is simply not supposed to be like that. You are supposed to fully embrace yourself, no matter who you are. And those who are triggered right now, guess what? You're in need of the exact healing I'm talking about right now. And I'm shaking my head because when I think of there having been a time where I made myself so small and felt embarrassed about myself, my body, my desires and needs, all because of insecure men, because of what happened to me as a child, and of course, because of my own insecurities and limiting beliefs as well, I cannot imagine ever feeling this way again, let alone tolerating it from anybody else. And neither should you. Now, moving on to topics which are suppressed a lot, which is on one side what we can call social and relational healing. And this type of healing is all about healing connections, meaning that healing in this area involves building and maintaining healthy, supportive, and loving relationships. So any type of relationship, right? From the one that you have with yourself to the one that you have with your friends, with your family, even with God. It's about resolving conflict and fostering empathy and understanding. Okay, it's the same process as your own personal development journey, just in a relationship. And there, both parties need to work on themselves and with each other to create more loving connections, right? More supporting connections. It's about community and belonging, which includes finding one's place in a community and feeling a sense of belonging and connectedness as well. And this is also proven to have a positive effect on our psychological well-being, right? So it's not just something people should simply sweep under the carpet every time and hope it works out somehow and hope for the best. Right? You need to do your due diligence in your friendships, in your relationships, in your family dynamics. It's not always on the other person alone. It's on you as well. And together, you gotta form these bonds. If you wanna have deeper relationships, first start with yourself, then go towards that certain person, and talk to them. Figure things out. Do the inner work together. Work on your relationship. Romantic relationships, healthy relationships also take work. They don't just magically appear. You both have to put in the effort and commit to the work. On the other side, we have financial healing. So security and abundance are important factors here as well. And they both involve achieving financial stability and a healthy relationship with money, right? So it's about overcoming financial stress and actually creating a sense of abundance and security within yourself. Again, the aspects of personal development, so your behaviors and your thoughts, and the aspect of spirituality, the beliefs, they are all one in this case. And also in this case, the mindset and the management both are key aspects as well when it comes to financial healing. So if your relationship to money consists of beliefs such as money is the root of all evil, or I don't deserve this money, or constantly living in a state of I'm broke, I can tell you that this is not good. Energetically, you're not aligning with it. You are not an energetical match for abundance. You don't have a good money mindset. You don't have a good and healthy relationship towards money. Instead, you are a match for scarcity. Stress related to money is ruling you every day. I'll give you another example. Recently, I've heard someone say, I don't think it's normal that we have to look at all of our spendings and keep an eye on them. In fact, I think it's kind of sad and really disappointing. And I know for a fact that this person didn't say it because they are short on money. Instead, it's their money management and their mindset towards it. It is very important to track your money moves, no matter how rich you are or how poor you are, and to keep track of your spending, to not unconsciously or recklessly spend money, right? You need to be more mindful about it. You need to have a healthy relationship towards it. Why do you want to avoid looking at what you're giving your money away for? Why do you think billionaires and millionaires, they stay this rich? Certainly not by thinking that money is bad, evil, or stress related. They know exactly where their money goes out and where it comes back in. And they not only keep track of their spending and most often have advisors as well, but they have an abundant mindset. They align with that cash flow, with that liquidity. They work for it, yes, but they also believe in it. Now, I know overall this was a lot of information, a lot of different areas to look at, but that's why it's important to me to relay the message that they are all interconnected, all of these aspects. And sometimes you solve 3 problems in one, and sometimes one problem reveals 5 more. And as I've said, it's a journey, and it's a never-ending process. At the end of the day, healing is a process of integrating all parts of yourself, and therefore creating a balance which supports your overall well-being. It's about harmonizing your mental, emotional, spiritual, physical, and sexual aspects of your lives, and all of the other aspects of healing as well. Again, healing is not a destination, but it is a continuous journey of growth and evolution. It's about constantly learning and adapting and becoming more aligned with your true self, embodying the healthier version of yourself more and more, so that you can actually live as your best self and become more empowered day by day. At its core, healing requires compassion for yourself and for others, because it's about nurturing self-love and extending that love outward to the world around you. But also don't get lost in this love and light movement, because that's not what it is about. Okay, I'm reminding you of duality again. Through healing, you transform your pain into power, your wounds into wisdom, and your struggles into achievements. And there's a quote that my mentor said this year, which really stuck with me. And it is, you can be a victim, but not play the victim. And I think it applies so well in this case, in this episode, to the healing process that we in general go through, because as much as we have been through other people or through ourselves, we are a victim in a certain way. But it is also on us to accept that fact and still decide not to play the victim anymore, right? not to be a victim to our circumstances anymore, but instead to take action for ourselves and choose to do better and not getting lost in this victim mindset and blaming everything and everyone around us. And I can tell you, it's the most transformative journey towards becoming your most authentic and fulfilled self. You will finally be capable of living a life of purpose, of joy, of profound connection to everything, including yourself. Don't miss out on it. With that being said, that was it for today's episode. I'm your host, Vanessa. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode of the Coming Home to Yourself podcast. Bye.